I really appreciate you just being able to spend the time with me to do this. I know we got some stuff planned today, but I'm happy that you even came to travel and see me too. We just met in April, so not even like 3 months ago.
Yeah, 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, in Vipassana, the old meditation center where we're supposed to change our lives, right? The thing that sets you free. Gernot, thank you so much for jumping on the School of You podcast. And the people here are going to be really astonished to hear your story about what's been going on in your life. And especially for the past 5 years, you've been biking across the world, basically. And you biked all of Europe first of 2017 and 19.
Yeah, 2016, 17.
2016, 17. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did all of Europe there, and a lot of Europe. I don't know how much of Europe. And then you decided to go to Australia, and now it's Asia. You stayed in Australia for 2 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years Australia, cycled half of the country, and then I moved to New Zealand, cycled all over New Zealand.
Wow.
Then I came to Southeast Asia, yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been in Asia?
Since January, so about 8 months now.
Oh, okay. And where did you start?
I started in Bali.
You started in Bali, okay.
Yeah, did a bit of Bali, went to Lombok, cycled Lombok, back to Bali, crossed Bali to Java, took a bus across Java, because I wanted to have more time in Sumatra, because the visa is always limiting myself, and then I cycled across Sumatra, 1,700 kilometers in 28 days.
Wow.
Took the ferry from Dumai to Malaysia.
So that's how you've been getting around, is ferries?
Yeah, ferries.
Okay.
So it's, I prefer just to stick closer to the surface of our planet. And yeah, it's just seeing more than just getting in a plane and you're at the next destination. Yeah. So I like to see everything in between as well.
That's why you started to bike as well, a little bit of it. How many kilometers has it been already since 2019?
Since 2019, I'm about maybe now on 28,000 kilometers roundabout.
Okay.
Yeah.
And total since even 2016?
So in total, my bicycle has now more than 40,000 kilometers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh. That's a lot of biking. It's so astonishing to hear that whole. I've only met I've heard of one person like walking from the north of Vietnam to the south of Vietnam, and people biking across like Europe and as much places as they possibly can. I haven't actually gotten to have a conversation with anyone about like the whole system and what goes through their mind about jumping across the world, and instead of taking a plane to go places, you use a bicycle of all things, not even a train, not even a car or a moped or like a scooter. It's a bicycle. Why is it a bicycle for you?
I don't know. So on one side, so I'm not into walking so much.
Okay.
So it's nicer to have everything neat and tight on your bicycle, wrapped up, and you don't need to carry the weight on yourself. Of course, when you go uphill, it's a bit harder, definitely. But yeah, the bicycle has so many reasons for me to you dive really into a culture, because you don't have any protection. So when you get on a bicycle through a village, everyone sees you. And you definitely stop. You have way more contact with the people around you, but you have also 100% contact with your whole environment. If it's rain, if it's snow, if it's wind, you're always there and you experience the whole thing. All the noises, all the smells, all the tastes. So it's just a full-on package what you can't experience in another way. So and you're also definitely more vulnerable. So
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because
but this opens more the connection to people around you. So when I arrive with a bicycle in a village, it's the people react completely different instead of someone is coming with a car and getting out of the car. So yeah, they saw this 1,000 times, but if someone is coming with a bicycle, it's a different level of respect and yeah,
in awe. They're in awe of that as well. They're like, it's the level of respect and it's like, wow, what the heck is a person bicycling here? We're in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere in Cambodia or in the middle of nowhere in Laos. You haven't gone to Laos yet, but even Vietnam. So it's wow. Just what was the reason that you really wanted to bike in the first place and go around?
In the beginning, it was really I wanted to see the world. I wanted to have a proper adventure.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it on a low budget, environmentally friendly.
Okay.
And there were many facts or what I wanted to cover up. So, and I really wanted, see as much as possible and be in a close contact with nature and my surrounding.
The aspect of just getting on a bike, because you said that you like to see the little aspects of everything. It's like you like to notice the little details of all the things that go on. What makes you think that that's really, like, what makes you happy about the little things?
It makes me way more appreciate all the senses I can experience, I would say. And yeah, it's so many things what the average traveler, I would say, when we travel by bus or when we travel by plane, you skip so much.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, of course, there are many uncomfortable situations, maybe, but it helps you also to get more comfortable in the discomfort. So, and also another reason for me bicycle traveling, it's just a bit more environmentally friendly.
Okay.
So keeps my CO2 footprint a bit lower.
I really would love to dive into your mindset and understand like where biking and how the little things even came into place, because you said it's getting out of the comfort zone for you. It was probably a huge thing. I mean, it seems like that by going on this adventure, you must have had not the best experiences when you were younger, where that kind of maybe led you to want to have your own solo time, your own experiences within that solo time, but then also the aspect of like where people are like seeing that you can do something for yourself and see that you can bike around and you can see that I have some power within me to go off and show people that I'm just biking and doing this exciting thing. There could be a lot of aspects to that where you see the world in a different light now, because you're seeing how different the world is, where you're literally like seeing very things that people don't get to see often.
Yeah. In terms of mindset, there is a funny thing. When I started cycling, actually I started in the beginning with a friend.
Yeah. Oh.
We cycled from on our first tour was from Germany to the Netherlands. And then I continued on my own to Denmark up to Copenhagen and cycled back. So we were 30 days, the first 30 days we were together. And I remember one of the biggest examples was we were mostly wild camping in Europe.
Okay.
So just finding in the forest or in a hidden spot, a place where we can camp. And I remember that the first week it was just you sit on the bike and then you're a bit worried about, oh damn, where we will sleep tonight. And then in the third week, I remember that we were on the bike and it was just, I'm so excited where we will sleep tonight. So it's, whoa,
wow, such a change.
Changed completely because you got more and more. In the beginning, it was really this discomfort to not knowing where you will end up in the evening. So what for what for places you will be where you can sleep or something. On my first tour, I didn't even had a tent. I had just a tarp and a sleeping bag. So it's,
wow. And then now it's like you're really comfortable with what uncertainty there is that you have. And that's such an interesting thing, because you were jumping into this completely uncertain of what is going to go on and how you're going to sleep, and the creatures, the animals that could have showed up wherever it was, especially in Australia, is like there's a lot of creatures I've heard in yeah, we had this conversation before back in Vipassana about the deadly creatures that are in Australia, and you basically are now going into everything with like a confidence in the uncertainty and a little bit of an excitement. So your attitude is switched from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset.
Yeah.
Because the scarcity was like trying to be worried about what you're kind of used to, that you want, the kind of luxury, like AC. Okay, can I have this? Can I have that? To now being in like, okay, I'm excited. Like, where can I sleep now? What creatures are going to kind of give me their like the little presents and say hi to me or whatever? I find it so wonderful that you can experience that change within just what was it, 2 weeks basically?
Yeah, it was in the first 30 days. Yeah, first 3 weeks, 21 days.
Yeah. And that was just a complete shift, because now you went from having this idea, like I don't even know, like it was like you kind of, were you fearful of a bunch of things when you first started? Like, what if it was like kind of a question that was going on a bunch?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you learned also. I learned also through the time, so to find nice spots where I feel more comfortable and more safe. It's like I wouldn't go in a public park in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
So there I feel less safe. So for me, the safest places are definitely the ones where I'm pretty sure that I won't meet humans at night. So I mean, in my opinion, human is the most unpredictable animal. So all the other animals, they have a certain behavior patterns.
Interesting.
And you can live with this. So a crocodile will never climb a mountain, for example. So it's
yeah, true.
So, but so this is what I mean, that you with animals you kind of can predict what their behavior is, and then you can adapt your sleeping place, for example. Yeah, when you're in northern Australia, where the saltwater crocodiles are, and they're really dangerous. You shouldn't go in the water, and because they are 5-6 meter long, and with one bite they take off your leg. But when you talk with locals, some people say just be 50 meter off the river. Some people say 200 meter distance from the river. But the safest is actually just to be 2 meter above the water line, because the crocodile won't climb up.
There it is. That's the funny thing. I see. So you really adapted to your environment very quickly. You had to as well, because that was the thing that was very present for where you're going. You have a new place every single night, basically.
Yeah.
You travel and you don't know where you're going to sleep. You don't know what food you're going to eat. You don't know who you're going to meet or what animals you're going to encounter. It's just like, hey, like, let's just get on the bike and go. What is your attitude with every single time that you get on that bike? Are you excited? And you're coming towards the end of your journey now. Like, what has been that process from the beginning to now of like getting on that bike every single morning? Was there times that you wanted to get off and go home, or were you excited every single time? Were you motivated as soon as you woke up? Were you fearful that your leg would break, or like your muscles would fatigue and you would get sick? What went through your head this whole time?
I mean, wow, and in 5 years I had many different situations. It's so difficult to say. Of course, I had days where I went way beyond what my body is able to manage. Yeah. So when you're just laying in the evening in your tent and your whole body is cramping and you're or in Australia, I had also burns on my hands were really bad sometimes. But yeah, it's part
Sweat
of
rash.
part of the adventure. Yeah, sweat rash is something. Yeah, okay, it's not too bad. I had worse things really. But yeah, it's part of the adventure, and I think it's strange to say. It makes you sometimes somehow harder, or how to say, more resilient. Yeah,
Sure.
it's but yeah, it's I had few times where I was thinking, oh, I just should quit, but then you sit on the bicycle, yeah, okay, I have at least 50 kilometer more to cycle today, or I want to cycle more 50 more kilometer. I could also stop after 20 kilometer every day,
Yeah.
but then you need 5 days to make 100 kilometer.
Okay.
But you could also do 100 kilometer in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I set myself always far away destinations. Like here in Vietnam, I know, yeah, okay, like I'm in Saigon and I want to cycle to Hanoi. It's 1,700 kilometer or something. And I don't plan every step in between. I know just, yeah, okay, I have this 1,700 kilometer. I can't do it in one day.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to do as much as I can. So between 70 and 90 kilometers at the moment, my average. And yeah, then I look on the way. If I find accommodation or if I camp somewhere wild, then I want to find a nice natural area where I'm not in the middle of a town, need to put my tent or something. Then I would prefer a paid accommodation. Luckily, here in Vietnam, it's quite affordable.
Yeah, it is.
No.
So you basically like were going you could say if it is 1,000 meter or 1,000 kilometers to go from point A to point B, you want to get to at least from one city to one city, right? Like the long destination, like you said, you don't plan everything in between, but you also told me that you want to experience the little things, right? So you want to get from point A to point B. You want to experience the little things, but you also don't want to plan every single day.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting strategy to go, or I guess you could say the way you go about it, because I think that's such a flexible thing to do, especially when you look at someone like a business person or someone that's just like someone that's just working or a day-to-day job. They want to have this achievement. Will go from point A to point B, or technically, yeah, from point A to point B. They want to experience all the things that they can get at point B, but it's the little things that are actually the most enjoyable, right? And that's what I think most people miss out on and forget about is the little things. And that was the thing that you went in on intendedly focusing on in the first place. It's just like I can get from point A to point B if I really did plan it, but what if I just experience the little things that will get me there? And then these things are, it's like you don't even plan the little things either. They just happen, right? But so when you go from point A to point B, what is it is there any sort of planning, any sort of like kind of figure out what is your plan to figure things out from going from point A to point B? You know the route already, and you're just gonna jump here and there, or you just get like intuitions of going to temples and then going to different other cities, finding some friends.
Yeah, it's kind of a open flow, I would say. So I take just now this example from Saigon to here, Hoi An. And in Saigon, I was still so into thinking, yeah, many people recommended me to go to Dalat.
Yeah.
But then I was checking on the map, and Dalat is 1,500 meter above sea level, and cycling in these temperatures is not the easiest thing. So I mean, I'm learned in Australia how to survive in hot temperatures and just keep hydrated and stuff. But if you combine it again with mountains, it's a different level.
Yeah.
And I met in Saigon actually a local Vietnamese person, and he said, yeah, the weather up there, it's anyways not that enjoyable at the moment. It's mostly raining and cloudy. So I decided spontaneously, okay, I go along the coast. It's probably nicer. And yeah, on the way, you meet then local people who recommend you little places. And then I found out, I wasn't even knowing that there are so many ancient temples in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then just on the way, I found one. And then I was in Nha Trang, and there was an exhibition with pictures of all the temples, and there were many on my way, so I marked them on my map. And then when I was close by, I always decide how I feel on the day. When I want to make this 20-kilometer extra loop? Uh, yeah, I decide, I plan maybe 1 or 2 days forward, so which direction I want to go. But yeah, every day I meet someone who can change my plan. So
yeah. Right. Because if you were just to plan from point A to point B and have a fixed set schedule every single day, that would kind of defeat the purpose where you could find the little things to be really enjoyable, right? Because then you can find those people like all of a sudden you can find the temples all of a sudden, and then go and jump into the temples and see all these other little things, have many banh mi's in every different city. Something like that, you know?
Yeah, often it's when I'm in the evening, I open Google Maps and just check the route for the next day. So the next 70 to 80 kilometer.
Okay.
I had a wound on my foot, so I was looking also for accommodations in this time, and wasn't camping much. So I check first for accommodation between 70 and 90 kilometer forward, and then I on Google Maps sometimes just pop up interesting places, so like a beach or the red dunes near Mui Ni, and yeah, so interesting spots. I mean, I'm also more looking for natural places. So in other countries, it was a lot of waterfalls. Waterfalls and forests are always catching me somehow.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. It's I like it that you're really curious about, you know, nature, people, and the way that you can combine the two. Because when you go to different countries and see different people, there's a lot of different experiences that you can have, and then all of a sudden you can figure out there's really great temples or any things of these sort. I mean, traveling, of course, is a huge aspect to why you wanted to even bike in the first place. And I mean, for me, I wouldn't want to go biking, but I would want to start a business. You know, my desires and aspirations are completely different than yours, but it doesn't matter what different things we want. At the end of the day, it's still trying to achieve something that you can feel. And there's a lot of things that you are going to go into the future with in the upcoming years and months that you're not knowing for sure how it's going to turn out. You know, you could have frozen your balls off in the ice, but you're just still pushing into it. You know, you'll deal with that problem once it comes.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't deal with the problem beforehand.
Yeah, if you worry, you make the problem just bigger than it is actually.
Yeah, that's like the focus of where your focus is at, right? And I think that's something that we learned in Vipassana, or at least it really opened up my mind more about that, of where your attention is, especially when you notice that the subconscious mind is linked to the sensations on your body. That's something that is noticing within the focus of where your attention's at. And there's a lot of deep wounds and deep miseries, as Goenka talked about, with looking into these things of your body and mind's cohesiveness and how they have transformed you into who you are today, and all the sankharas and those interesting concepts that he likes to talk about. When you look at what Goenka and what Vipassana teaches you about equanimity, and this is the point that I'm trying to make, because when you look at equanimity, you understand it's about the mind balance and mind it's more like mind certainty, but at the same time, you're not liking something too much, and you're also not disliking something too much. You're right in the middle, right? That's why it's like that's the phrase equa, the in the middle portion, right? And so that's where I feel like you have been able to kind of create your entire life around is you've already been inside of this equanimous world where you don't put too much effort or attention to things that you don't like, and you also like for the things that you do like you'll grab them. That's part of life is taking things that you want. We all driven towards pleasure and moving away from pain, but you don't worry about the pain that could happen, right? You just look towards how can I get a little bit more of this and stay in the middle at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I like this example, take it as an example, when I cycled in the outback in Australia from Mount Isa to Tennant Creek. It's about 850 kilometer or something.
Wow.
And there are 3 roadhouses in between. So there's nothing. It's just outback, dry country. And so every 200 to 300 kilometer is a roadhouse where you can fill up water and have a meal. So,
Wow.
so and of course you sit on the bicycle and usually probably after 30, 40 kilometers, so it's the first point where you feel maybe your bump is a bit hurting or your muscles are a bit stiff. But you could just stop on this day and okay, I have still 800 kilometer. If I cycle every day 40 kilometer, I do it in 20 days.
Yeah.
If I cycle every day 80 kilometer, I can do it in 10 days.
Yep.
So you just push a bit further. So, and then on 60 kilometer, all the pain is released. So there is no pain in your body. And it's a strange feeling. So pain is coming and going. So this experience I made long time before Vipassana already.
Yeah.
So over also a longer term than this 1 hour sitting.
Yeah. Much more.
So
much more than just 1 hour.
So yeah. So and it gives you a bit of course you have this goal where you want to go, but you could also always stop. I mean, it's not a road where there's no one coming, so every day
okay,
cars passing by. So in worst case you could just stop a car and hitch a ride, but on the other side you want to do it on your own, or I want to do it on my own. So it's a part of the adventure, part of the challenge. Hey, so yeah, you just keep pushing.
As Dory said, just keep swimming. That's so interesting. And especially, that's like a tough challenge. 3 pit stops that you can make in 800 kilometers, and you have a limited amount of water and food.
Yeah. I mean, I am also on a short budget traveling. So I filled up all my food in Mount Isa. I was carrying enough food for 10 days on my bicycle.
Yeah.
And about 15 liter of water.
15, okay.
15 liter water. Yeah, and this was really that I can drink every day 4 liter.
Yep.
And have a bit of spare. And then every 2.5 days, I made it to the next roadhouse where I could fill up my 15 liter of water.
Yeah.
So that it worked out pretty well.
You prepared that. That was good.
Yeah. So on this long distance, of course, I needed a bit think about how I manage it.
Wow.
So, but still, I was just planning this step, and then from Tennant Creek to Catherine was again 600 kilometers or something.
It's still hard, and you had to deal with a bunch of pain during that whole process. I love it that you didn't have to go through Vipassana to understand anicca. The law of impermanence. I think that was something that a huge takeaway from Vipassana was the law of nature, of that everything will arise and pass away at some point, and that there's a point of death within that, right? Humans arise, animals arise, and they pass away at some point. And what's interesting to understand is also the entire aspect of what human life is, or life is a lot of suffering. But when you put yourself intentionally into challenging, painful situations, and things that actually, it's not just like, hey, I'm just going to go like cut myself, or I'm just going to go try to just do a belly flop for, no reason. It's like there's a ends to the means. There's a means to the ends, where there's a sort of feeling that you are going to accomplish, or some sort of personal association that you can create for yourself that gives you some sort of proud achievement through that pain. There's a lot of other things that come into it, but there's all this stuff that happens in between, that's the little things, right? But then there's that end point. Once you get to that, it's like, okay, I can just bike this just to bike it, and I'll be like, okay, I'll be here, I'll be it's like climbing from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. And once I get to the top of the mountain, then I'm feeling great about it. I climb the mountain just to climb the mountain. Okay, great. That's a great thing. When we look at these long-term goals, or these long-term stretches, or these little challenges that we're trying to achieve, it's important to understand that the pain and the struggle that's going to go inside of that, and everything could change within this, of once you first thought of, I mean, the end goal is still the same, but the way that you get there, you could have gone a completely different route. What if like someone told you, hey, you should go here, and then all of a sudden you have the motivation to go over there, or you should go here, and then you had the motivation to go here because it's going to be like, you can see this, you can see that. And so you just were determined to go to point A to point B, but you could have gone to a different place. I don't know if it could have been. I don't know what this path looks like, but there's 3 stops that you said. I mean, those 3 stops could give you so much experience through just like that relief, and be like, oh my gosh, finally. And you could have stayed there for like 5 days, just at this place. And then someone would tell you, hey, like you should go back and go to stop 1, and then go to this little thing out here that nobody knows about, right? It's like these little secrets, and the people, the things that people tell you. I think a lot of the things that we kind of believe is through the word of mouth of people. And so when people tell you things, like, then you get to understand, okay, maybe there's something that I can do differently, do better, and then try to prove to others people that I can do this, and then prove to myself. I love this type of challenge, when we look at things, and then the journey in between that challenge, where so many different opportunities come in our way, the different people, the different experiences, and the different emotions, and the feelings, and the pain. It's a beautiful thing. It's you've heard of the hero's journey?
The hero's journey? No.
Yeah, it's this movie construct where this person who goes through a really troubling time in the beginning aspect gets slays the dragon, and then basically wins the princess or something like this. And so there's this whole process of the person needing to slay the dragon and become like a boring person, and then just be bettering themselves and becoming the hero. And so this is the idea from getting from point A to point B, is you have to be the hero. You have to be resilient and be 100% determined. Like, you could have backed out on that route, but why didn't you?
Maybe because I wanted to make the experience myself. But there's I think it's kind of a Buddhist saying. So there's a guy walking around a mountain, and he's asking everyone who's coming down the mountain, how was the climb up there? And one says, oh yeah, I took the south route, it was really rocky and slippery. And another one took the east route, and it was really muddy, and he's stuck for days in one place. And they get up to the top, and it was an amazing view. But if you don't go up to the top of this mountain, you never will experience this view for yourself. So, and this is it's kind of making the achievement for myself. So, and yeah, everything on the way is just a plus. But like you said, also I have sometimes the situations that I passed already area, and someone is recommending, oh, go back and see this and this. I earned for myself this peace of mind that I can't see everything in my life.
Okay.
So you can't achieve everything.
Yeah.
So it's just not, we have just a limited time on this beautiful planet, and everyone is trying to make the best out of it, or to make the most out of it.
That's a
but I made myself also the peace of mind that I can't have everything.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
That's really good. It's a good.
Enjoy the journey as much as you can, but don't make yourself crazy if you can't make everything. So it's will dampen your further on journey if you all the day you think just I didn't see this waterfall. But you see 1,000 other waterfalls on the way anyway, so it's not worth to stuck in past things you probably missed out or something, and just enjoy the here and now with more bliss.
Yeah, it's a good word. Bliss is a great word to use. I think that's a beautiful thing to be able to have that that sincerity, to just know that whatever I've already accomplished already, I can be happy and proud with that right now. And yes, because I mean, if you're someone that wants to go bike, you're very ambitious. Typically ambitious people, they want to achieve a lot of stuff, right? And so the way that they want to do that is through different aspects. That could be biking, that could be just by the places that they visited, the amount of money that they made, or the number of businesses that they've done. But it takes a lot out of you, and also, again, there's a limited amount of time in this world to actually be able to go out and achieve all these different things, where it's like if you just kind of lower your expectations, lower the amount of entitlements that you want for yourself, for your ego, more your ego that really wants it, because then that's that image of like, hey, I did this, I did this, I did this, that your ego is going to be proud about, right? Have some balance with it, right? Because then you can be like, wow, I did amazing things in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and now for the rest of my life, I can just focus on like little things, be happy with what I have, balance, and also balancing that 20s, 30s, and 40s as well. That time in between there, yes, you can be very ambitious and challenge yourself and go through that whole struggle. You can have that mindset of like, oh, pain is good, pain is helpful, but then you miss out on a lot of life as well without realizing, like, if you go towards these achievements and only go towards those achievements, there's a lot of stuff that you can miss.
Yeah, it's like there I have a good example in New Zealand. I was cycling the South Island of New Zealand, and then I got the opportunity to work on a music festival on the north part of New Zealand, on the northern part of the southern island.
Okay.
And I was then more the decision, okay, I could cycle to the most southern point of my whole journey in the south of New Zealand, but then I would miss out the opportunity to work on this festival and meet great friends of mine and make more social contacts. It was more about my ego achievement to be on the most southern point I ever been, or have a great enjoyment with people I love to see. Yeah. So and sometimes you need to make the decision. So what is more important for yourself? So and if it's just a stamp in my ego book, yeah, most southern point, check. Or you want to have a more enjoyable time with the people you love. So it's.
So what I think you said something there that I really want to touch up on is when you were having a tough decision that you had to make, right? Because I feel like a lot of people have a trouble with having inner strength to make the right decisions and not to just go towards the ego or to satisfy the ego, right? How do you go about your decisions on like a daily basis? Because I think there's a lot of things that you have already habitually created that's in your habits now for your decisions. But then there's also things that, like these kind of decisions where you had in New Zealand to all of a sudden, achieve the most southern point or to stay with the people. Like, what goes through your mind? What are your principles for your decisions?
Tough question. Yeah, for me, it's a balancing between what wants your ego and what wants your heart. I think I can separate between these two.
Okay. Your heart, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the ego is always for the biggest achievements, and the heart it's more, yeah, the comfortable space maybe a bit also.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's finding a balance in between. So to push yourself to make certain achievements, but also to have the space to find comfort in yourself.
The comfort of the ego as well.
Yeah, because when you push yourself just all the time, then yeah, you could miss out on beautiful moments what you wouldn't achieve on your own.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in that pushing attitude of trying to achieve everything, your mind is in a different state where it's really fast and it can't slow down. And it's like it's always go go go, and it's like you don't know how to slow down to the really important times where you could have met a really great person, you could have seen a really cool thing, but you're like, oh no, I still need to get there. Like you're on the way to go from one city to the next city, and there's a beautiful waterfall there, but you still have to get to the city in time, or for this person, or whatever the situation may be, whatever the time limit or the constraint is that would make your ego feel satisfied or to achieve, right? But there is a cool thing that could possibly happen where you see there's an event, a waterfall, or any other opportunity that is out there. I think that's a great thing to experience that opportunity, but then also there's times when to actually go just kind of forward and towards that achievement. And you have that balance. And I mean, that's a really great thing to have. What do you think how do you think you've been able to create that balance for deciding if you're going to go towards your achievement or to go in towards kind of the opposite of like the slow down and kind of monotone, relaxed, and satisfying lifestyle?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's for everyone individually, and even on a daily base, individually to decide sometimes. So
where are your priorities first?
Yeah, where you put your priorities. I mean, there are basics like you do a bit of a workout or a bit of body fitness every day to just keep your body healthy. Eat every day so to keep your body healthy. And yeah, to learn new skills as well. It's a great part of the growth. But yeah, this balance is for everyone also a different thing.
It is.
Like I recently I hear a lot motivational speech from David Goggins.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he is just a crazy guy who is pushing way beyond all human possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's doing it, and even he found his balance, so to have his family time and has his time where he's pushing. So, but he definitely says also you need at least 1 day a week really resting. To keep up with the motivation to push the other 6 days through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great. I love that you also are familiar with David Goggins, because that's a huge part of where a lot of I noticed within you is stuff that he talks about, and that's a really great aspect to have. And I think that this situation of you biking across basically the world. I mean, if you go to America and South America, that's going to be essentially the world, and I think that'd be a great goal for you to. I mean, just for me, like looking at your life, I don't, your goals are your goals, but that's like, it's a really cool thing to see when you push yourself and also are able to be okay with like, hey, like I'm going to settle down in Hoi An for 3 days with Sam for a couple nights, and then just kind of hang out and go to Hoi An and just hang out.
Yeah.
You have the ability to, even though you're on your time constraints and then the money constraints, it's like, that's like a worrisome thing, but you still are wanting to join in on things that you can experience still.
Yeah.
And it's a process that the decision of making that is your own principles, your own priorities that you've been able to create. I think that's a very important thing for people to understand, is where if you place the principles or what's most important to me in my life or in my relationships or in my health, you will see in like the actual priorities, and your decisions will be first based on those priorities. You have already been aligned with that because it's a thing that you've had to take on so many times within 5 years. I mean, going on a biking journey and traveling around the world for making decisions you make decisions every single day that are different, and the choices that you make are insane, but they're also they can come back and be very neutral and not a big deal, but it's all based on what you're thinking and what you're wired as.
Yeah, I think on the bicycle, I had so much time to think about things. So you think so many times through it that you get to the level where you thought all the thoughts, and then you get to a meditative state just on your automatically. So this is what I experienced at the Vipassana, that I'm, oh, okay, I have done this unpurposely already. So it's, so this was really interesting, this experience to make it a Vipassana, that it's just, oh wow, I'm on a good way already. Yeah, it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you have the things that Vipassana told you already wired in you. And you didn't even need to go through Vipassana, but it was helpful for you to go through just to have that relaxation time.
Yeah, it was great to learn all these things through a proper way.
Right.
Kind
of
reinstall it and get it articulated. So and
yep.
Explained actually what's going on in you.
Yeah.
So because I mean I was doing many things I learned at the Vipassana unconsciously before, but I wasn't aware of it, or I wouldn't even be able to explain it. So and the Vipassana was more giving this in a other light. Oh yeah,
that's great. And it's like when you're done with this journey, when you're finished biking, what is it that you're going to feel proud about for yourself?
I mean I will finish maybe this Asia trip in few months.
Yeah.
But I'm not finished with cycling.
Of course not. Yeah, no way.
So I don't think that I'm finished with cycling. I want to make a break. So I want to have a place to settle for a while and also do other hobbies than just cycling, because cycling, it consumes a lot of time and a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And you can't do so. Some hobbies need more equipment, but I can't carry on a bicycle as well. So it's always, yeah, but the cycling is a unique adventure.
And so you see yourself wanting to start a family and all that as well at some point?
Well, for a family, it's more necessary than just me. So I will see how it turns up. So these are things, in my opinion, I can't really plan with. Yeah. So it's when it's happened, it's happened. And
You just
but
can find a
it
woman
won't destroy my life if I'm not able to. So it's
okay. It's a very comfortable in the uncertainty again. I find that really amazing, but I think that's where you've created a lot of power for yourself, especially on doing something as struggling or as troubling and as that takes a lot of effort and struggle as biking through Vietnam. Well, but also extremely hot temperatures, dangerous animals, and just the exhaustion of just biking every day 70, 80 kilometers. You'll ask scientists, hey, can I work out every day? They'll tell you, no, that's not good for your health. They tell you, but you've been doing it for 5 years. You've been exercising nearly every single day, where you put yourself in some stressful situation for your nervous system, that you've just rewired your entire body to now look towards things that you can just push yourself into. We just did an ice bath, and that was like, it looked like it was super easy for you. And was that the first time you've done it?
Yeah, it was first time ice bathing.
That's super cool to me. And you did it in 8 minutes, basically. I'm happy that was a good experience for you, and you were able to take away that to apply it to where you have already been using these principles in your life now. And it's a great thing. It's being able to witness what you've already been doing and applying what you're learning now, and to kind of bring those two together, what you've learned and what you're learning, and see how they correlate, right? And see how that you can make those things easier on you. Because like you said, you had a lot of thoughts of thinking, and the thinking of thoughts, and thoughts of thinking. And that it's so much blah, right? When you're going through repetitive things in your head, like, okay, that's just a really challenging process. So having this situation of going to Vipassana just made it like, clicked for me. So that was a great thing for you. And I also I took a lot out of it as well. But I mean, you have a lot of time left to experience a lot more stuff. Me as well. There's going to be a lot more life principles, but that itself in Vipassana is huge life learnings for principles, philosophies, and the way of being that it will treat you for the rest of your life. And I'm very excited to learn more about what other things that I can use and learn about and apply to make what I learned in every single area of my life in my past even better today. And keep moving forward with that attitude. And the way that I look at it is, every time I get to learn something and be something, I get to impact those around me. And then you're doing that just by biking across the world without even you realizing it. So Gernot, thank you so much for coming to Hoi An and having this podcast with me. It was really great, man.
Yeah, thank you too.